My good friends over at G Fuel just launched a brand new Twitch-inspired flavor called Sour Pixel Potion. If you guys want to check that out, it's available on the G Fuel website right now, and if you use code ESPRESSO, you'll get 10% off your entire order. So go check it out if you're interested. Yesterday, we discussed a little bit about Modern Warfare, and we talked about how it's kind of in this limbo period right now, where we're in that little valley of information and anything that comes out from a post-beta sort of event where we have hands-on and a lot of stuff coming out about the game, and then we're right before where it's going to be that pre-launch hype where a bunch of stuff comes out, and then, of course, interest just surges again with the coming game. So we're in that like weird week to 2 week period, but in the past couple of days, there's of course been a lot going around that I wanted to talk about one final time, that sort of DLC weapon debacle before I jump into the Spec Ops debut as of next week, and then everything leading up to the launch of Modern Warfare here on the channel in the coming weeks. But there's been a lot to talk about, some conflicting rumors and some things that I just wanted to talk to you guys about in a general perspective here to let you know everything that's going on, but also to let you know what may be coming. So that said, we'll break it all down here in this video. And again, a little disclaimer, this might be a little later than I intended to get up, simply because I am in that process of moving still. Things might go back to normal probably around Wednesday or Thursday here for it, but I wanted to get this up here and discuss a little bit further, give you the whole breakdown of everything, but might be again a little later because of that move. But anyways, it all started out with what was that exclusivity for PlayStation 4 in survival. We saw out of the State of Play event, which gave us a little bit of a look in at the campaign. It was the story trailer, which I thought was really good in and of itself. The story for Modern Warfare looks fantastic, and I cannot wait to jump in and actually play campaign and see where this narrative takes us. But in the State of Play trailer, it was only in that trailer that we got a little sort of bonus clip of survival, accompanied with the fact that it is going to be exclusive for PlayStation 4 for an entire year. That means up until October 1st of 2020, Xbox One and PC will not be able to play the subdivision of Spec Ops that is Survival, the fan favorite from Modern Warfare 3. Now, that in and of itself is old news. We talked about that a couple of times here on the channel. I don't want to dwell on that too much. The way that it looks right now, that was a bargaining chip, whether good or bad, so that the rest of the DLC throughout the entire year could be free for all players and also come at the exact same time with no exclusivity for PlayStation being favored getting maps a week earlier than Xbox One and PC and things like that. So everything else will be there again, for better or for worse, whatever you want to take it as. That was the sort of bargaining chip, and that's what stemmed this entire supply drop weapon debacle that came up in Modern Warfare, because shortly after that, one of the prominent leakers for Modern Warfare, the Gaming Revolution, said that one of his sources said that this is now looking pretty bad for the post-launch support in terms of weapons and content and supply drop. Previously, it was said that everything would be cosmetic only. There would only be cosmetic weapon variants, which are those things like comparable of the XRK weapons pack that you end up getting for digitally pre-ordering. That was something that was stated there, but then it was seemingly just a turn of events where everything is going to have weapons and supply drops. And then add in the fact that what was said was there's going to be a ton of filler content. You have a Black Ops 4.5 essentially. And that may be where everything is left off right now, where you may know it up until this point, where everybody has been, rightfully so, losing their mind, because that's a bullshit practice, especially if there is no way to earn them organically, like how we've seen in every single Call of Duty outside of Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4, and I guess Advanced Warfare as well. But games like Modern Warfare Remastered, Call of Duty World War II, Infinite Warfare, they were great because players could organically get those weapons, and they could get them in supply drops, but they weren't required to do that. So naturally, players don't want to experience what Black Ops 4 did with microtransactions again in Modern Warfare, and especially given the fact that this game at its core, while it might not be everybody's cup of tea, it does seem to be a very solid title, a solid game that could bring back a lot of players. I've said it here on the channel that I've had friends that I had played the Modern Warfare games throughout high school with. They've come back to me because they know that I do YouTube talking about Call of Duty, and they're like, dude, Modern Warfare was actually a lot of fun. Like, I'm looking forward to a Call of Duty game for the first time in forever. And I said it before, I think this game's biggest obstacle is simply itself. Not to mess anything up with something that would drive players away, like a microtransaction system that is borderline predatory. But that may be the most updated that you've seen this story, that was everything out there, but there's actually been an update here to this, to the point where a Twitter user by the name of Victor Z, who is actually one of the original Modern Warfare leakers, like this predates TGR's leaks that we've talked about here on the channel, this predates a lot of stuff. He was actually the first one to even leak the logo, which was something that I'm so surprised that never got taken down, or he didn't get hit with anything legally. but he ended up leaking a ton of stuff way back in the day, talking about stuff that has since come to pass. Some has since changed and therefore hasn't, but a lot of the stuff was said well before their reveal dates. And so again, with another solid track record, it's at least worth hearing out what is said. Whether or not that's something that you should take with a grain of salt, absolutely. I think that anything leak-wise should be, because before it's ever out in the public, it's still subject to change. But he ended up saying on Twitter, the supply box cannot drop new weapons, only weapon variants, just like the XRK weapons pack. And as well, he ended up replying to somebody tweeting back saying, I currently only know about the weapons of the variants, including other microtransaction projects. I know the specific number of microtransaction projects, but can't leak them. I'm sure there are no new weapons so far. Now, if we take that as gospel, obviously that is a great thing to hear, that it's still only cosmetic weapon variants right now, those XRK weapon packs and other variant blueprints like that, in which the blueprints aren't anything that stat change or anything, it is simply just cosmetic. The attachments that come along with those weapon variants are available in the gunsmith. You can organically make that weapon variant. You just won't have the same visuals that it may have, where if it's a bronze finish or something like that, your weapon may not have that bronze finish, but it doesn't give any sort of statistical advantage over somebody else because they didn't get lucky in a supply drop. So based off of this, that is a good thing to hear. But at the same time, who's wrong, if anybody? Because with such conflicting reports, with so much roller coasters of emotion happening right now within the Call of Duty community about this said topic, who's right, who's wrong? Is there anybody that really even is? I mean, what if both leaks are right? That's also something that is very likely, and I would say that's a safe bet. I don't know if I'd say I'd put money on it right now. I'd like to hold out hope that Infinity Ward does pull ahead and does make that player-first, player-friendly system like we've seen in Infinite Warfare, like we saw within Modern Warfare Remastered, even though that was just simply Raven and not Infinity Ward. But I'd like to think that the track record of Infinity Ward having at least a little bit better of a system in place for the player can prevail. But at the same time, it's something that's going to sell. Modern Warfare is going to sell like hotcakes. It is going to sell like lemonade on a hot day. And so Activision as a business, they made Black Ops 4 the way that it was in terms of pushing so much DLC and MTX like that because they knew that they could get sales on a game that already would sell a lot. Modern Warfare is their push to revitalize and rejuvenate the classic and the new Call of Duty fan base. So I would not be surprised if they end up trying to milk this as well, because they know there's going to be people playing it. They know they can put those air quote deals and systems in place in front of way more eyes than, say, Infinite Warfare would have had. And when I think about it, I almost think that Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered, though Modern Warfare Remastered was more so from the beginning, Infinite Warfare's I felt almost was like damage control. There really wasn't that many people playing Infinite Warfare. Whether or not you liked it, truthfully, I don't think it was a bad game. I think it was ill-timed. I think it was something that was too much like Black Ops 3, and so therefore players just didn't want to play that again. They wanted something a little bit different. So I personally don't think it was necessarily a bad game, but it wasn't a very well-received game. So it was almost damage control to give players the weapons, to put only those variants in drops, and then have the base weapons unlocked via challenges or via the season pass. I would again like to think that it's not going to be that bad, but I also think that both leaks probably are right. It is very likely going to be something that happens like Black Ops 4 did, where at the very beginning of the game, it'll seem all right. We'll have stuff that seems to work with the player. We'll have supply drops that are only cosmetic. We'll have maybe a shop or something that allows players to buy uniforms and camos outright. But then come Christmas time, come January, after everything happens, where that second peak of sales and all the reviews are in, that's when I'd start to expect it to go downhill. Because at that point, they're not really looking to sell much more of the game. They're not really looking to hit any other major sales spikes. The launch and then, of course, Christmas and the holidays, that's when those two biggest sales peaks come into play. So if they have things looking great, the reviews are nice out there at that time, people are still going to buy it. So at that point, I would expect maybe after that, that's when we see these things transition. For right now, it might not be terrible, but the future, I'm not gonna lie, still does scare me. As much as I love this base game, as much as I want to give Infinity Ward the benefit of the doubt, there's only so much that they can do before Activision's like, nah, sorry fam, we're taking over. So as it stands right now, that's the timeline of events here with this whole supply drop debacle. Whether or not we see base weapons in supply drops, only time will tell. I'd say expect the worst, play the base game for what it is, but in terms of DLC weaponry and all that and how they handle supply drop content, expect the worst, and if things get better, well, that's a pleasant surprise. That's what I'm doing. I'm bracing for it. I'm ready for the base game. I'm ready to have fun on the stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the business side, but I'm also in the back of my mind thinking, oh, this could be scary. But anyways, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Wanted to give you guys the full picture here now that there's been a little bit of an update to the story since that time when exclusivity was announced and when this first initial leak came out. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you think it's gonna be something where at launch it'll be okay, then come afterwards, that's when we start to see things go downhill? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare. I'm super stoked to start pumping out some content here for the launch coming up in a couple of weeks. I am so ready. So if you guys are interested in anything Modern Warfare, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. And of course, if you guys want to get connected with me a little bit further outside of YouTube, Twitter and Instagram are the best places to do so. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But let's send out of the way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.